Jewish cook sliced open a bread worth 500,000 marks. He then ladled on potato soup and distributed it to his fellow Jews, who had been starving for 3 days. The Germans discovered that the cook was secretly feeding everyone. They immediately rewarded the cook with a lash, which made his head bleed. The soldiers knocked over the bread bowl and kicked over the potato soup. They raised the whip again and continued to beat the Jewish cook. The other Jews united together, gnawed on the bread, and watched indifferently as the cook was beaten. In revenge, the Jewish cook lured a German officer into the kitchen by lying that he had prepared a big meal. When the officer lifts the lid of the pot, the Jewish cook grabs a pocket knife and hides it behind his back. The German officer came over and questioned him. He took the opportunity to kill the German officer. The cook broke into a smile. He decided to kill all the German officers in the camp. The Jew then polished the dagger with a tool and hid the axe in his clothes. Then, pretending to repair a boiler, a Jewish teenager stole 2 rifles from the armory, hid them in the chimney, and walked out in plain sight. Armed, the Jews immediately went into action. They first lured a German officer to try on his shoes and then attacked him from behind with an axe. But the officer happened to turn around to avoid the blow. The surrounding Jews immediately rushed up, covered the German officer's mouth, and then pulled out their pocket knives and killed him. They then lured the German officer to the tailor's store under the pretext of trying on clothes. No sooner had the officer put on his leather coat than the Jews rushed out and strangled him alive. Using various ambushes, the Jews killed 15 German officers. When the last officer was left, the Jews destroyed the communications equipment to prevent the Germans from calling for reinforcements. Meanwhile, the last German officer was on patrol when he found a Jewish child. The child's mother begged the officer to spare the child's life, but the officer refused. The mother spat in the German's face and then took the opportunity to snatch the child back. This enraged the officer, and he pulled the trigger. The officer then returns to his office only to find blood on the door. He followed the blood into the office and found a dead body. He then realized that the Jews were trying to escape. The German officer hurriedly picked up the phone to call for help, but the line had been cut. He had no choice but to ask his soldiers to inform the others. The Jews knew that they had been exposed and immediately informed everyone to scatter and escape. The Germans immediately opened fire, and the bullets swept wildly toward the Jews. But the Jews fought against the rain of bullets and pushed their way through the barbed wire. However, the periphery of the camp was covered with 100,000 mines. Behind them, German machine guns kept firing. Many Jews fell here. In the end, half of the 600 Jews managed to escape.